food preppers, it's Loza from the Baking Mad Gym Addict. A few of you have been asking for details about how much I spend and how many calories and macros are in each of my lunch boxes. And so just for you, I have calculated all of those things for this week's food prep session. It's easier to track spending, calories and macros if you've only got a few ingredients. And so for this week, I kept my meal prep pretty simple. This is what the finished result looks like. I made pieces of chicken breast, poached in ginger and coconut milk, roasted sweet potatoes, and some nice colourful yummy veggies. I also made a Sriracha mayonnaise to drizzle on the meal boxes and to make them a wee bit more exciting. As a clean, wholesome meal, you can't really go wrong with chicken and veggies. Each box contained 250 calories. For snacks, I hard-boiled some eggs. I usually hard-boil a bunch of eggs in one go because I find that they can be stored in the fridge in their shell for up to 1 week. I sometimes transport the boiled eggs to work in this funky egg storage container so that they don't crack. Each egg has about 70 calories. I also took a bag of almonds to work. 10 almonds is also about 70 calories. This week, I also got super organised and prepped my vitamins and supplements for the week too. I usually forget to take these, and so I thought if I bought one of these pill boxes, it might help me to remember. I love this container because it's pink and it's got a magnetic strip on the back, which means you can stick it on your fridge. Awesome! Each compartment has a multivitamin, a fish oil and a coenzyme Q10 capsule. On to the food. My receipt from the supermarket tells me that this week's groceries cost me $66. I'm actually going to deduct the cost of the avocados from this receipt because I didn't use the avocados for my lunches. And so really the total cost of the meals was $62, which is currently £32 if you're from the UK and $49 American if you're from the US of A. For this amount of money, I made 11 boxes worth of food. Each of these boxes contained 100 grams of chicken, 200 grams of veggies and 50 grams of sweet potatoes. The boxes contained 250 calories, which can be broken down to 21 carbs, 4 grams of fat and 28 grams of protein. You can adjust the weight of the food to whatever your health goals are. Alrighty, so I bought some ground ginger, a can of coconut cream and 1.9 kilos of chicken breast. To start with, I used a pair of kitchen scissors to snip off bite-sized pieces of the chicken into a big saucepan. I like to keep the chicken bite-sized so that it's easier to fit into your mouth once it's been cooked, and it also means that the chicken will be poached faster. Once the chicken was all chopped up, I poured in the can of coconut cream. Once that's poured in, I gave the chicken a quick stir. I then poured in just enough water to cover the meat and sprinkled on some ground ginger. I bring the chicken to the boil and then reduce the heat to low and leave it to simmer in a covered pan for about 10 to 15 minutes. I like to stir the chicken every so often so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. Once the chicken is cooked, I take the saucepan off the heat and just leave the chicken in the gingery, coconutty liquid to soak for 1 hour. This helps to drive some of the coconutty taste into the chicken and helps to keep your chicken nice and moist. After an hour, I usually strain out the coconut liquid and save it for later to be used as a base for curries or soups. Okie doke, I then move on to peeling and chopping 3 large sweet potatoes. I sprayed them with some olive oil and sprinkled on some Slap Ya Mama chili powder. This then gets popped into a preheated oven for around 40 minutes. Next, I move on to making 2 very large trays of mixed vegetables. I love eating roasted veggies. This week I sprayed my veggies with olive oil and sprinkled on some Mrs. Dash tomato and basil herb seasoning and some ground cumin seeds to add a bit of a nutty peppery spice. For my veggies this week, I decided to go for some succulent spears of asparagus, some fresh tasty red onions, some red juicy cherry tomatoes, some yummy mushrooms, some baby broccoli, some sweet tasting carrots, and a yellow pepper. Once the veggies were fully seasoned, I popped them into the oven while my sweet potatoes were still roasting. The veggies should only take about 25 minutes or so. Once all the food was ready, I set about portioning out my boxes. A good tip if you're serious about weight loss is to use a food scale so that you can keep track of how much you're eating. I remember when I first heard about people measuring their food, I thought, what? Measuring food? That's so cray-cray. Why would I want to do that? It just seems a bit overkill. But I have to admit, weighing your food really does help to keep you honest because let's face it, I would never have known that each of these boxes contained about 250 calories if I didn't use a food scale. This digital scale is super accurate and it can tell you the weight of your food in pounds and ounces, grams and kilograms. As you know, all my recipes are in the description box of my YouTube videos. And I know some of you guys are on the metric system and some of you are not. And so it's quite handy to be able to flip between the different measurements at a touch of a button as needed. I usually measure food after it's been cooked, and this is how I do it. I pop my container onto the scale. I obviously don't need to know how much my container weighs, and so I hit the reset button so that the number goes back to 0. I then pop in some of my roasted veggies until the number hits 200 grams. Once I've measured my veggies, I hit the reset button so that it goes back to 0, and then I put in 100 grams worth of chicken breast. Well, once I've got 100 grams of chicken breast, I hit the reset button again and put in 50 grams worth of sweet potatoes, and that's a food box done. I repeat this process for the rest of the boxes, and then I go onto MyFitnessPal, which is an app that I can use on my phone, and it tells me that based on the weight of the food, each box is about 250 calories. If you need to buy one of these digital scales for your kitchen, feel free to check out the link in the description box, because I've got a discount code where you can get the scale delivered to your house and you can get 50% off. I don't measure my food all the time, but I always find that when I do pay attention to proper serving sizes and portion control, then I do get good results in how I look. After a while of using the scale, you get used to the look and feel of the correct serving sizes. And there you have some pre-packaged healthy homemade meals to eat during the week. Whoops, I nearly forgot to tell you about the yummy sauce I made to go with these meals. I actually really love the taste of mayonnaise, but at 90 calories per tablespoon, it can be pretty calorific. And so what I do to lighten up the calorie count is substitute half of the mayonnaise for Sriracha sauce. Sriracha sauce only has 5 calories per teaspoon and adds a cheeky kick of chili to your meals. Mixing up sauces like this can really make your meals taste a lot better and more exciting. As you can see here, I just mix up the mayonnaise and Sriracha sauce into a squeezy bottle, ready to add to my meals whenever the fancy takes me. Sometimes I'll even just squeeze Sriracha sauce straight onto the chicken, whatever floats your boat. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. Coming up soon on my channel is this awesome granola recipe which I created, which is flipping amazing. And yes, I've got another meal prep episode in the pipeline, and this is a sneaky peek of what I made. So if you're keen to see those videos, hit the like button and I will be sure to post them up soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy what I'm putting out here on YouTube land, and feel free to check out my Facebook page and Instagram. Catch you later, food preppers. Bye!